Hello everyone! The second video in the Coding Artemis watch series is here. In this video, we'll show you how to turn your watch into a musical instrument so that you can play music wherever you go. Now we'll quickly go over the block sections we'll use in this example, which we haven't already covered in the last video. The logic section will allow us to define specific conditions that need to be met in order to execute some part of a code. The math section will allow us to set our variables to specific numerical values and to use different mathematical operations to adjust them later. The variables section will allow us to create and define variables, which we'll be using throughout the code. Each variable has a specific name and you can store and change its value. Similarly, the functions section will allow us to create different functions. Each function can trigger several actions, and you can call these functions several times throughout the code. Let's start coding. First, let's create all the variables we'll need for this example. Now we can define these variables at the start of our code, as shown here. Next, we need to create a function for drawing the keyboard. Inside this function, we first need to set the background color to black. After that, we can draw the black and white keys. To simplify the drawing process, we can create a couple of loops, since all the black and white keys will look the same. We only need to change their position on the display with each iteration. Keep in mind that the display has a 128 x 128 pixel resolution, so the value of the x and y coordinates will match those pixels. Finally, we need to set the key variables back to their original values, so that we can access this function again. Amazing, we're done with this function. Now let's create another function for drawing the dot that will represent the selected key on the display. You can do that by using the following block. These next couple of functions will be used to define the movement of this dot. The dot can move upwards and downwards on the keyboard. It can also move from a white key to a black key, from a black key to a white key, or from a white key to another white key. This is why we need to define 6 different movements. When we're done creating these functions, we can move on to the inputs. The down button will be used to move the dot upwards on the keyboard. There are 13 keys on this keyboard, and we need to define which movement will be used depending on the currently selected key. We can do that by using the following blocks. Amazing! Now we need to repeat this process for the up button, which will move the dot downwards on the keyboard. You can simply duplicate this whole set of blocks and adjust it as shown here. The select button will be used to play the selected key. Again, since we have 13 keys, we need to define what happens when we press this button for each of them, as shown here. Great! Now we only need to add the loop forever block. Add the draw and draw dot functions inside. Also, don't forget to include the scan buttons, push frame and sleep 20 milliseconds blocks to ensure proper code execution. We're done with coding. If your code looks like this, you are ready to click on the Run button. Try moving the red dot over the keyboard by using the up and down buttons. When you want to play a specific key you selected, try pressing the Select button. Wow! What kind of a melody can you create on your new musical instrument? If you want to put the stock firmware back onto your device, you can simply go here and click on the Restore Firmware button. Thank you for watching this video and stay tuned for more examples.